What's going on, guys? Sean here, coming to y'all with a quick little video. OTAs have pretty much wrapped up now, so there really isn't much else that I want to talk about in terms of, stuff that's happened at OTAs. I think that's all been covered to death. I think now we're just going to get into a little bit more of the opinion-based stuff. Let's, take a look at the roster, spots where I think we could improve. I think that, low-key, pass rusher is a bigger need than people are talking about, mainly outside linebacker, true edge rushers in the Fangio scheme. Josh Sweat isn't really a true fit for this scheme. Bryce Huff could be, but wasn't used the same way, so it's really interesting to see how he's going to fit into this scheme, because he was mainly a pass rusher, not so much, not so much an outside linebacker who will drop into like flat coverage and maybe a one-on-one here and there, against a slower tight end. So, these are things that we got to look out for when it comes to, this upcoming year, the defense, the scheme that we're running and stuff like that. And then, we want to talk about linebacker depth a little bit, a guy who's never played linebacker before, or well, he says he has, but doesn't really have a lot of NFL experience playing off-ball linebacker. All of a sudden, it's looking like he's getting, all the first team reps. Of course, Nakobe Dean being injured, but, what does that say about our linebacker depth? And then the signing of another O-lineman, what does that say about things? So, before we get into all of it, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, a little bit of a glimpse of what we're going to be talking about. But, please please subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys so much. Your support for the channel does not go unnoticed. I really, really appreciate, I really appreciate those of you who come back every time, who keep coming back to watch the content, so I just want you guys to know that I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, the first thing that we should really talk about, it's going to be pass rusher. Kind of an underrated need right now is pass rusher. I mean, people are talking about, well, you got BG and Josh Sweat, who really aren't fits for the scheme. I don't know how many people remember, but when BG was in a 3-4 scheme before, there were a lot of struggles. He played inside a lot, actually, at a lot of times, to really find his groove, along with like Cedric Thornton and Vinnie Curry and Fletcher Cox when he was younger. We ran that Billy Davis, shitty 3-4 scheme that, got us killed constantly. But BG was not a world ender. We really used Trent Cole and Connor Barwin. Those were our main outside guys. They were the ones that fit the scheme better. So, Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham, I don't think they fit as outside pass rushers. Then you got Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff has really never done it before. He was a straight pass rusher. He was a third down guy, pass rush situations. Not a guy that you're really going to see playing off ball a lot, playing linebacker, essentially dropping into coverage and stuff like that. And then you got Nolan Smith, which I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. I don't know that Nolan Smith has any coverage background. I know there was a little bit of talk last year about potentially moving him to middle linebacker. I heard rumblings of it early this year, but that got kind of stomped out really quick. He's a first-round pick, so you want to just say, oh, he's athletic, he can do it all, he's smart, blah, blah, blah. And, that might be true. He might be perfect for the Fangio scheme. But then that means that's one guy. One guy out of all this depth that can actually play the position that Fangio is asking them to play. I think that's a terrifying thing to go into the season with. Yes, all these corners could be home run hitters. They could all be lockdown corners. But if you don't have guys that are going to get to the quarterback, then what's it matter? It's a huge hole in our defense right now. It's a huge flaw in our defense. I didn't like watching Hassan Reddick drop back into coverage, but, at least he's used to it. At least that's where he's been most of his career, so it made sense to keep him around. Trading Hassan Reddick and not Josh Sweat is always going to be a little confusing to me. Sweat's younger, and you hope that he's got more fuel in the tank. But he's also got that knee injury that could just reflare and put him out of the league at any time. He is one more torn ACL or a good strain away from not being serviceable in the NFL anymore. And, a lot of people forget, he was like a 4th-round pick. he was a 4th-round pick for a reason. It was medical concerns. I mean, Josh Sweat has always been a freak. He's big, he's fast, he's strong, he's agile. He's always been what you want in a pass rusher, but he's a ticking time bomb. So, to where Reddick, it's 4 years with 10 sacks, and, he looks dominant all the time. And yeah, people would bitch, oh, he goes 3 games without a sack. Watch the games. I mean, he's an inch away in every game. And then, 2 years ago, take every coverage snap that he was in for some reason and put him against, a pass rush, put him in pass rush positions and, it's a whole different game. I mean, he had 17 sacks, I'm pretty sure, the year we went to the Super Bowl, postseason included, Sweat's never had that kind of production. I just don't think he has that kind of production in this system. And I just really think it's a weird fit. I think we need to go ahead and start looking around. I think now is the time where you start looking around. I think, maybe a Matt Judon with the Patriots. He got hurt last year, but he's looking for a new contract. Maybe a Joey Bosa, expensive, hurt a lot, but when he's on the field, he's a game changer. Another pass rusher that can just kind of do everything. And he comes from a similar scheme. Not sure of the success rate, but, he's a great pass rusher, and he's proven. So you already have that. I mean, you could look to guys on rookie deals. I mean, I haven't really done my homework, but, there's pass rushers to be had, and there's pass rushers that can play this scheme to be had as well. I don't think that it is an easy thing to find, but I also think that, the NFL's full of talent, and, you look around the right places, you'll find a guy that fits the scheme. This is why, bringing in, a Van Ginkel from the Dolphins, on a cheap deal would have made a lot of sense to me. He gives you a little bit of flexibility on the pass rusher front. I think that maybe Howie thought someone was going to come available, or maybe we were going to get a guy. I haven't even talked about Hunt, Jalix Hunt, I think it is, the 3rd-round rookie, because you just don't know, so it really makes you wonder, are we good at pass rusher? Are we really good? Now, the one argument I will say is, when you're in nickel, you're in 4-3, essentially, pass rushers up front. When you're in 5-2, and you're rushing 5, then essentially it doesn't matter anymore. So yes, we can use rushers in situations, yada, 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 but I just think it limits you. If you can't use your base formation against pretty much every defense, barring, empty sets with all wide receivers, if you can't use that 3-4 defense against, 3-1 personnel, 3 wide receiver, 1 tight end, then it kind of limits what you can do. And then you're rushing guys on and off the field. And, I think it's a big hole that nobody's talking about. I think it's very hard to go from 4-3 to 3-4 in 1 year. And we've been through it before. It's not easy. So I think that's a big hole that nobody's talking about. Corner, we're great. Safety, I think we're really good. Nickel, I'm not too worried about. I think nickel, we will find a guy as the season goes on. I think we got enough rookies and talent mixed together at corner and safety to where nickel's not a big deal. I think we'll be okay there. But, linebacker, pass rusher, it's concerning. If we start getting gashed in the run early on because we don't have the guys to fit the scheme and run the formations that we need to run to stop these running plays, we're going to be in a world of hurt really, really early in the season. I think another position that needs talking about is O-line. You've got your starters, and it's been really nice that the guy we got from the Jets has been panning out, and it looks like he's doing a good job at guard. But that's another huge question mark. The guy had plenty of opportunities with the Jets. The Jets are begging for O-linemen. And, he just couldn't seem to find a home there. Mekhi Becton, by the way. I just thought of his name. And that's good. That's one depth piece. But, are we counting on like a Fred Johnson? Who else do we have? Backup center, Matt Hennessy, who are these guys? Can we trust these guys? These are other things. We just brought in, Max Sharpling or something like that. He was with the Bengals, another often injured player. Really good when he was playing, but again, he's often injured, so how much can you really trust him? this is the first year we don't have a Jack Driscoll. We don't have a Nate Herbig. We don't have, you know, a second round center sitting behind Jason Kelsey. You know, we got a lot of depth issues at O-line, and I hope it's not the season where it rears its ugly head, because, you know, say Tyler Steen doesn't pan out and doesn't look as good as you thought, then maybe you move Matt Hennessy, or, you know, you're moving Mekhi Becton over to right guard or something. Then you're shuffling. Now you're rebuilding camaraderie. Now do all your packages on offense work? Do all the guys, you know, are they in sync? Do they know what they're doing? You know, I think this is another thing that's a huge red flag for us. You know, it is another scary thing. You know, what happens if we have 1 or 2 injuries and then we're relying on backups? You know, this is the first year in a long time where I've honestly said that O-line scares me a little bit this year. You know, the thought of, you know, not having enough depth, not having enough guys, you know, or just not enough guys that know the system. And Stoutland I trust, and I think everybody feels the same way, but Stoutland can only do so much. The greatest coaches in the world can only do so much, you know, when talent is not there, or when you just don't have enough depth, enough camaraderie, enough time for everybody to really gel and mesh well like they should. So, you know, and these are the trenches. The main thing that I'm getting at through this whole video, you notice, you know, the skill positions are great. I'm not worried about quarterback. I'm not worried about halfback. I'm not really worried about wide receiver, even though, you know, who's number 3? You know, we did it all year last year. And, you know, for a long time, we were just fine. You know, with Zacchaeus and Watkins and Julio, you know, we were rotating guys. And then Covey at the end of the year. So I don't really worry so much about that. You know, I'm worried about the trenches. You know, I think O-line, D-line, linebacker, you know, pass rusher. I think that there is a real problem on this team in the trenches. And, you know, yes, it was nice to go get 2 corners, but now you're looking back and you're going, you know, if you could have got a pass rusher in the 2nd round, that could be a 50% of the snaps kind of guy that can really take the load off of, you know, all the other pass rushers you got, you know, that would be invaluable right now. You know, had you taken a 1st round O lineman, you know, right guard would be locked in, Steen would be a backup, Matt Hennessy would be a backup center, you know, and then maybe Mekhi Becton could just float, you know, backup tackle. And then, you know, you got 3 guys, 8 O linemen that can cover all your positions, and you're kind of protected a little bit more than you were before. But I'm worried about the trenches. You know, I do not want to see the Eagles get bullied in the trenches. We lost Fletch. We lost Jason Kelsey. You know, we lost Hassan. You know, it's just these are a lot of guys. You know, Lane and Jordan Mailata and Landon Dickerson. You know, they're going to have to control the O-line. They're going to have to make sure that the changes at center and right guard don't matter. They're going to have to play out of their mind this year. And I think that's why they all got a pay raise. I think that's why they're all getting paid what they're paid, because Howie and everybody believes in them, and they've proven that they can do that. But they have to continue to do that for this year. It's going to be very, very important that they continue to dominate this year. As for the D-line, you know, we're really counting on like a Devin White, Nakobe Dean, Trotter Jr., you know, whoever. You know, we're counting on unknowns to come in and to save us. And, you know, you hope that one of those guys, you know, locks in. And that's what we said last year. You know, we hope one of those linebackers lock in, and they didn't. And it was a long year. You know, I just do not want to see us fall into that again. I know Devin White is not the talent that we had last year. He's better, but he has to prove it. He has to come in and prove it right now. So tell me what you guys think. Are you worried about the trenches with the Eagles? You know, yes, we still have a lot of guys. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams. The middle of the D-line seems great, but, you know, it seemed great last year too. So just tell me what you guys think. I'm done. I've been rambling for 14 minutes now. This video's gotten way out of hand. So just let me know what you guys think. I love y'all so much. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'll catch y'all soon. Peace.